Now when you copy action scripts from an existing motion tween animation built on the timeline in Flash, the properties that are added to the generated script will depend on those properties that were involved in the original animation back in Flash. You can use the add property array method to customize these properties as well as to add new properties that weren't in the original animation. If you go to the ActionScript 3.0 help area in Flash, you can get a list of these tween properties that you can modify. So let me go through these properties in more detail in this movie. Starting with the X and Y positions, these are the horizontal and vertical positions of the transform point of the object. This will be related in the space of the parent object. Remember that x0, y equals 0 is the upper left-hand corner of that parent. Z is the depth or z-axis position, again in the coordinate space of the parent. Scale x and scale y is the horizontal and vertical scale as a percentage of the original object. Skew x and skew y is the skew angle of the original object. And notice you can see many of these properties and how they're modified over time here. These are frames, remember, in this array. So the x and y and the scale x and scale y are changing in each frame of this animation as defined here by these numbers. So again, you can go in here and change those numbers to change the actual animation, modifying it from the original. Next we have the rotation properties, rotation x, rotation y. Rotation x is the rotation of the object around the x-axis from its original orientation. Rotation y is around the y-axis. You also have this property, rotation concat. This is the rotation around the z-axis. This is into and out of the stage. Next we have the use rotation concat. If set, this causes the target object to rotate when the add property array supplies data for this motion. The blend mode property, we've seen this before. This provides a class value specifying the mixture of colors of an object with the graphics underneath. In this example here, we can see that my blend mode here is set to normal. Next we have the matrix 3D. The matrix 3D property, if one exists for the keyframe, is used for 3D tweens. All the previous transform properties will be ignored if you do use this property. Then you have the rotation Z property. This is again rotation into and out of the stage in degrees from the original orientation relative to the 3D parent container. Again, this is used for 3D tweens instead of rotation concat. Let me now bring some of this theory down to earth with a concrete example. This code assigns values to the properties of a motion tween named _motion_wheel. In this case, the tween display object does not change location, but rather spins in place throughout the 29 frames of the motion tween. The multiple values, notice, assigned to the rotation concat array define this rotation. Here are the values right here. Notice that all the other property values do not change for the x and y location, the scaling, the skewing, all zeros. Now the last task when working with these script-generated animations is to associate the motion tween with the display object or objects that it manipulates. The animator factory class manages this association. Remember, it's an association between a motion tween and its target display objects. The argument to the animator factory constructor is the motion object. Here in this example, it reads animFactory _ symbol 1 _ 2 animator factory 3D equals new animator factory 3D with a parameter there, notice, that includes the object name. That's a classic constructor function right there. Notice the last line here is you're using the add target method of the animator factory class to associate the target display object with its motion tween. Here is where you would associate multiple display objects with the same motion tween using multiple calls to this add target method right here, this line right here. Just add more of those to duplicate the same animation for other objects. That'll do it then for this very long section of this tutorial on manipulating graphics. You've learned all about the Flash display list model, display classes and important terms, how to change object position, how to modify colors in alpha with ActionScript, how to rotate, resize objects, how to script blending modes, how to add filtering display objects with ActionScript, how to mask display objects, customize the pointer, and also this last section here for converting tweens to ActionScript and then modifying that ActionScript to create custom animations. We're now ready for our next section of the tutorial, controlling audio, and our next project, Project 5, the Music Jukebox.